Well, I did put out one video, so I guess it's time to celebrate, right? Cheers! Welcome back, everybody, to me doing that thing where I always explain why I didn't do the videos that I promised. Only this time, well, I made the video. So, yeah, this is the usual weekly navel-gazing where I talk about the books that I read, the books I plan to read for next week, the videos I made and the videos I didn't make and the plans that I have for the coming week, and then descend into general rambling and stuff like that. So, what did I read last week? Well, I did read Frederick Jameson's Postmodernism, or the Cultural Logic of Late Capitalism, which was a fantastic book if you're into that kind of stuff. It's theory, it's about, well, a mostly Marxist view on different aspects of postmodernism and how they are connected to late capitalism. I learned a lot, and yeah, it was dense, but it was definitely worth reading. And then I did reread The Dialectics of Enlightenment by Adorno and Horkheimer, which, yeah, it's also pretty dense. And I was mostly looking for the culture industry part because that one was important to me. And I did, well, I did certainly take stuff from it, is my point here. I'm not quite sure when I finished reading the collected essays on the culture industry by Theodor Adorno. That might have been last week or the week before. Things are sometimes a bit blurry. So that's mostly what I read last week. And then I went to, well, I read some fiction as well. For pure entertainment, I did reread The Master and Margarita by Michael Bulgakov. And, well, I did reread A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess. And I did obviously enjoy both of those. I don't think I'll do anything video-wise on those two because they were just for me to relax, and I don't want to say have fun because at least Clockwork Orange is not necessarily a fun book, but certainly, you know, have a change of pace after the whole Arthur monstrosity and go and do something completely different. And that's what I did. And I did, well, I did certainly gain something from it. I did enjoy it in a way. So that's all the reading I did last week. So what kind of reading will happen this week? Well, honestly, I don't really know. I think the next book that I'll be reading will be Naked Lunch by William S. Burroughs. I've never read it, but I wanted to for a long time, so I figured after A Clockwork Orange, since I'm already in that mindfuck kind of headspace, I can just continue, and that's what will happen next. And after that, who knows? Who knows? There will certainly be some rereading of Guy Debord's Society of the Spectacle and comments on the Society of the Spectacle. And I do have some rereading in Marx Capital, and I do certainly have some rereadings in Simone de Beauvoir's The Second Sex plan. But that's sort of vague for now because, yeah, I'm somewhat at loose ends right now, and we'll see what happens next, depending on how many, you know, Audible credits I have to spend on stuff that I really feel like interested in and so forth. But that's reading plans for next week. So what else did happen last week? Well, I did make a video, and it was a almost 4-hour long one. I guess it's time to talk quickly about that and then move on. Yes. The Arthurian video finally came out on Friday, or Saturday? No, Friday. On Friday, finally. It was certainly a lot of work, and I'm glad it is done. We'll talk a bit more about it in the general rambling situation, but yeah, it finally came out. I did plan to also make a video on Night Watch by Terry Pratchett. In fact, I did record it yesterday, and well, I'm not happy with the recording, so I'll redo that one today or tomorrow, and then it'll definitely be up this week. I gotta do a lot of catching up with Discworld videos, I feel. So that's the plan for this week. Do Discworld videos and maybe start on the next large project, which will be the capitalist nightmare of Brandon Sanderson's culture industry. I have a structure, I have ideas. I'm just trying to figure out where to go with this and how to make it in a way that is accessible. Because I guess that's sort of where we talk about the larger context of the videos and the Arthurian video. So first of all, thanks to all of you who have actually watched it. I know 4 hours is way too long for what I did, and especially since, my editing is terrible and you just have me sitting there and drinking beer and rambling and making weird noises and shit like that. I'm aware of that. So thanks to all of you who have actually watched it. I do very much appreciate it. See, in a lot of ways, this is once again one of those projects where I needed to, kind of show to myself that prove to myself that I'm able to make it. So I'm glad it's over. Because I've said this before, I tend to, and that's certainly been the bane of my academic career, is I tend to over prepare and over read, and you look at that video, it's got like a bibliography of 20 books, and that's not counting the stuff that I only had a quick look in. Yeah, that's certainly a lot of work for what ends up to be a YouTube video that like roughly 300 people have watched. But that's on the other hand is probably not how I work, and what I do here is like at the end of the day I wanted to make this argument about how we read Arthurian fiction and stuff like that. So that's what I did. Mostly it was, at some point it was just about finishing it and not giving up, because I've fucked up so many times. I've broken so many like goals of deadlines. I've given up on so many projects and just let them drop. So actually finishing something of that magnitude felt really good in that regard. And then the feedback has been extremely positive. Those of you who have commented, thank you very much. I do appreciate those comments. One in particular was definitely, first of all, thank you, Ori, for actually doing the promotion work that I should do, because I really suck at this. Sharing the video with Nicola Griffith, who had to say some incredibly nice words on her website about the whole video and the part on Spear, and it certainly made my day yesterday. I can tell you that. It feels like recognition in a way that, feels good. Because at the end of the day, I put a lot of work into that. I put a lot of I don't want to say my heart into that, but I put a lot of work into that. And I barely scratched the surface of what I would consider my Arthurian opinions and knowledge at this point. I barely scratched the surface of that. But to have someone whom I personally would say knows way more on the subject acknowledge that what I did is actually good in their eyes, I think that feels good, is my point. So first of all, thank you to Ori for actually sharing it, because I forgot to do any of the sort. And absolutely, thank you to Nicola Griffith for taking the time to watching this scruffy old YouTube video and then saying such nice things about it. I did really, really appreciate that. It did make me feel good, and that's something I haven't done in a long time, to, feel good about something that I've done versus something that has just happened or I participated in. So that's, I don't want to say a new feeling, but it's certainly one that I haven't had in a long time. and that's sort of what I've been thinking about. See, the next project, the one on Brandon Sanderson, is tough for me, because I know what I want to do, I know what I want to say. It's basically all laid out, but it is very much a critique of the publishing industry, of the ideas that Brandon Sanderson has brought to it with the Dragonsteel and so forth, the way we talk about publishers, the way we talk about authors, all of that stuff. And that is political. It's obviously going to be political. I mean, you know that, right? But, I make these videos not to, preach to a choir or whatever. I don't want to call myself an activist, I'm not, but I certainly have a message out there, and I want to make people think and question the system that we're talking about here when it comes to publication. It's not going to be about the actual content of Sanderson's novels. That's another project for the future. Don't get me wrong. I've spent my Audible credits on Stormlight Archives books for a while. I haven't started them yet, but I will certainly get to them, and, we'll see. Well, we shall see. It's not happened yet, but my problem is that my style of video, me just sitting here drinking beer and rambling, is in part due to the fact that that's something I can handle by, editing myself, which is barely any editing. But I understand that it's very, very difficult to watch that from time to time, especially when you look at, all the polished productions that YouTubers have these days with great sound and editing out every little stumble, every little cough, every little everything, and having cool graphics and shit like that. I don't have that, and I can't do it. And obviously I can't afford paying an editor, so I'm worried that me making like a video with like a severe message that I like, a sincere message where I feel that I want to make this very clear and hopefully change some minds, will not ever reach that audience, because that audience steps away when they hear the word Marxist. They step away when they hear the word politics, and if they then even see the terrible production values of what I do, they'll even step away even quicker, and then, well, it's just the usual suspects who already know that the system is fucked who'll watch it, and that makes me kind of sad now. I'm wondering what I can do about that, and that's certainly something that I'll be thinking about a lot in the next couple of days when I'll start working on the bits and pieces of that video and see how I can frame things in a way that may make it entertaining, accessible, so forth, make it tight. I don't want to make another 4-hour video because that will definitely lose anyone's interest. If I can manage to do this in like 1 hour, that would be perfect. 90 minutes maximum. After that, I feel I've lost everyone, and that's not the goal here. The goal is to actually make some valid criticism and make it stick. So that's certainly something that I've been thinking about, and we'll see how that goes. Now, there's obviously some like plans for the more or less closer future, which is we're in June now. There will be obviously another Marxist malcontent. From what I can see right now, that should be probably around let me think, in 2 weeks, because already let's say today's the 12th. So next week will be the 19th, and the week after that will be the 26th, and then it's still late, so it's 24th of June might be the date for the Marxist thing, which is Midsummer, St. John's Day. It's usually when you set up real huge fires and jump across the fires and do stuff like that. I know Midsummer is the 21st, but here we go. 24th is St. John's Day, which is sort of what does the same trick in Germany. So that will be that. The question is what to do there. And I had a lot of fun with Sarah on the last time. The question is, whom could I possibly invite this time round? Or should we just do like a big debrief on more things Arthur? Is that something you want? I can certainly talk for another 10 hours on Arthurian interpretation and stuff right now. Don't get me wrong. I could probably do an entire university course, not a good one, but I could certainly fill an entire university course with Arthurian knowledge by now. The point is, I would, just ask you what you guys want to do there. If you have like suggestions for people I should ask to come on and discuss the whole thing, world of books, from a more aggressively critical way, than just, doing the usual shoulder patting, nice talk that so often gets in the way of actually having opinions. Let me know in the comments. I'll gladly reach out to anyone and see if they're interested, see if they want to come on. If you're a booktuber and want to come on, just do the same thing. Just say, hey, look, I'd love to. And we'll see how we can actually do this for the coming months. And if you have like other ideas what should happen in those live streams, and let me know those as well. I'm always willing to listen and ignore advice afterwards. It's something I'm really good at, so that's certainly something that will happen. Well, beyond that, there's another thing so what happened is YouTube is telling me to set up channel memberships. Now, I'm weird about that. We already have the Patreon, which is great. Thanks to all of you who are actually patrons. The question is what to do with channel memberships. I've never looked into that. I feel it's sort of like YouTube playing at the Patreon game to get more money, and because they want to make money, they're like, every time I open YouTube, they're like, hey, it's time for you to start your channel memberships. You're finally eligible. And I'm like, so what's that mean? And does anyone really want that? So I thought I'll do the usual thing, which is I'll just ask you, should I start channel memberships? And if so, do you have like any wishes, whatever I can implement through those channel memberships, if that's something you want? Because otherwise, well, just don't do it. Like, I mean, I know that YouTube wants to make money. I personally need a lot of money, but I doubt that channel memberships will change any of that. So I thought I'll just ask you if you have like suggestions, wishes. If you say like, no, fuck that, we don't want to give money to anyone, least of all Google, then I totally get that. So I'm just, I'm just dealing with having to, click away that message every time I open YouTube at the moment. I'm probably sure, I hope it'll just fade at some point. We will see. So that's something that I just wanted to ask you guys if you have like any opinions on whether I should keep doing this or not, and we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So, yeah, all things considered, it was like a pretty productive week for me. I hope this one will be productive too. As I said, I have ideas and projects and stuff, and there will certainly be some videos. There will hopefully be the next Sunday school, which will be shorter, I promise. It will be about psychological ways of reading fantasy, and we'll talk about, what's it called? The Darkest Road by Guy Gavriel Kay. I hope I can get that one sorted out in a professional way within the next couple of days, and you don't have to wait too long. That would certainly be one of the projects. We will see. So yeah, pretty productive week, all things considered. I'm still far away from being like a normal human being with like a regular life or anything of the sorts, but at least some things happened, and that's something, isn't it? So I hope you had a good week. You did have well, didn't suffer too much from the heat. I certainly did suffer, but I went to the gym because they have an AC, so hopefully I'll get fit again, just because I have to hide away from the heat. I hope you had a good week. I hope you read some great books, maybe found some new favorites, maybe discovered something new about yourself, had a good time, and I hope you'll have a good week and do great things this week, because if we don't do it, no one will. So let's just keep doing whatever we can do and try to be as happy as we can be. And I'll see you in the next one, which will hopefully be about the darkest Discworld book out there, and that will be tomorrow. And until then, cheers.